Did you know that your breath has an effect on stress? And did you know that having high CO2 tolerance can reduce anxiety and improve mental health? What if you could control your health with just your breath? Well, you can. And in today's video, I'm going to explain exactly what I'm talking about and lead you through 3 tests to see how your respiratory health is and what your CO2 tolerance is. Okay, so let's just jump right in. I've got my notes here. I have my notebook here. I will have these pages attached to my YouTube so you can screenshot them, download them, however that'll work, so you can keep track and go through this video with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So your CO2 tolerance has a direct effect on how well you can manage stress, both mentally and physically. When we have a low CO2 tolerance, we are less resilient and less resistant to stress. Whenever that stress comes, it affects us even more. Okay, so I know that we've all experienced that, where there's some days where you can handle stress a little bit better and some days you just can't. And a lot of that has to do with how we breathe. So let's talk about CO2. CO2 is carbon dioxide, and that is the off gas of the process of breathing. So we inhale oxygen, our cells absorb that, and then our cells release CO2. And that CO2 is what triggers our body to take another breath, and that's what keeps our breathing system going. Our respiratory system is the only system in the body that we can consciously control, meaning that it's not completely involuntary. We do breathe involuntarily, that's because of CO2, but we can also consciously control our breath. We can slow it down, we can increase it, we can hold it, we can consciously affect it. It's not like our heart or digestive system where it just does its thing and we can't control that. But the respiratory system, we can. And it's amazing the effect that the respiratory system and breathing has on our overall health. And I'm going to get into that. So having a high CO2 tolerance allows us to breathe slower, deeper, and more efficient. Okay, so some health benefits of having high CO2 tolerance are reduced inflammation, improved cognitive function, improved heart health, cellular detox, healthy respiration, improved athletic performance, increased energy, and increased prana flow. Okay, so here are some ways that we can increase our CO2 tolerance. Number 1, holding our breath. That is the biggest way, the main way we can change our CO2 tolerance very, very quickly and effectively is breath holding. Okay, the second one is breath work. The third one is nasal breathing. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that if you're not breathing through your nose, you should be. Okay, nasal breathing is super, super important. Once again, just for the overall health, but when we breathe through our nose, our bodies can release nitric oxide, which opens up our blood vessels and allows that oxygen to enter in our cells more efficiently and properly. And actually, when we mouth breathe, our bodies can't absorb most of that oxygen because it's not humidified or warmed through the nasal cavity. So breathe through your nose. All right, the next one is aerobic exercise. So if we think about this, if you go out on a run, and let's say that you're a beginner and you try to go out on a run, you are going to get winded and out of breath very, very quickly. However, if you consistently started jogging every day, you will soon find out that you are less winded, your body has adapted and become more efficient. That's because your CO2 tolerance has increased, okay? And number 5 is practice, okay? So what do I mean by practice? That is practicing breath holding, nasal breathing, anything that we can do to control the breath. And the last one is belly breathing. So that's part of that practice, is making sure when you breathe, your belly is moving as well as your chest, okay? So if you think about it for a second, if you breathe through your mouth, usually it's just your chest moving. It's not your entire diaphragm. But when you breathe through your nose, you engage your diaphragm and your belly, okay? So what that does is it affects your nervous system, and that really helps with that stress and reducing stress. So if you're ever in a stressful situation, focus on breathing through your nose and into your belly, okay? Anytime we can use our diaphragm and our belly, it will calm us down, okay? So those are 6 ways to increase CO2 tolerance. So I hope this makes sense, and we will go ahead and jump into those 3 tests. So we are going to start with our breaths per minute test. This is a test that is best done first thing in the morning or after resting for a couple minutes, which you have been doing since you've been listening to me. So that's why we're starting with the breaths per minute. So I have a timer set, and all we are going to do is count our breaths for 1 minute. So a full breath is in and out. That's 1. In and out. That's 2. Okay. So without changing your breath too much, just count your breaths. So if you're ready, get your pen and paper ready, and we will go ahead and get started. Okay. So sitting up nice and tall, and 3, 2, 1. All right, so go ahead and record your breaths per minute. So write the date. Okay, so our goal with the breaths per minute is to slow it down as much as we can. A healthy respiratory system is nice and slow. That also means that your body is not stressed and that your nervous system is in a calm state, okay? So this is a really good test to do over time to really track and see how your body is doing efficiently, and it's also an insight to your nervous system. Okay, so the next one we are going to do a breath hold test. Okay, so for this one we're going to take 3 full breaths in. On the last inhale, we are going to hold as long as we can, and we will do this 3 times. Okay, so go ahead and get that page out, or you can just write this down in your notebook, either way. So, breath hold test. Okay, so we will take 3 breaths in. On the last one, we are going to hold. So you will need to get your own timer. I'm going to time myself. You go ahead and time yourself, and just hold your breath for as long as you can, okay? And we'll do that 3 times. Okay, so 3 breaths in. And big inhale, hold. All right, I got 48 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down for the first round. We will rest for a minute, and we will do it again. So it's okay if you could only hold your breath for a few seconds. That's totally fine and normal. If you are not trained in this, that's totally fine. You will notice, though, that your times will increase pretty rapidly if you incorporate this. Incorporate breath work, aerobic exercise, and the breath holds into your daily or weekly routines, okay? Okay, so we'll do this 2 more times, okay? 3 breaths in. Big breath in. Hold. Okay, record that number. And we will do the last round together again after we rest for a minute. So you'll probably notice that your second round was better than your first round, or vice versa, either way. So if you have improved CO2 tolerance, you will see your numbers go up. If you have a lower CO2 tolerance, you might see your numbers go down. Okay, so that's kind of a reference right there. We'll just let our breaths return to its natural rhythm for a bit, and then we will finish that third round, okay? I always like doing breath holds because this reminds me of when I was a kid, and my sisters and I would see who can hold their breath the longest underwater at the pool. And I'm super competitive, so I tried very, very hard to win. All right, we'll go ahead and do the third round. So 3 breaths in. Last one, breath in. Hold. All right, record that number. Awesome. So once again, just like a workout journal, this is really great to keep track of over time, just to see how you're growing and improving. Okay, so our last test is the CO2 tolerance test. Okay, so you'll need your stopwatch once again. I will have the information for this one and all of these tests in the description below, because for the CO2 tolerance, there's an actual chart where you can see where you fall within the healthy range, the below average range, or if you're well above average. Okay, so all of that information will be down below. Whenever you feel like your breath is relaxed and back to its natural rhythm, then go ahead and move on. So for this one, you will need your stopwatch again. We will take 3 full breaths, just like last time. And on the last inhale, you will fill your lungs all the way up. And once you are full, you will begin to exhale as slowly and controlled as possible. Okay, you are not holding your breath. If you hold your breath or swallow, then you need to start this over. Okay, as you're exhaling, if you stop, that's when you stop. Okay, so once again, 3 breaths in. Last one, you fill all the way up and you exhale either through your mouth or through your nose, whichever you feel like you have the most control over. I typically exhale through my mouth, and I will just barely open my lips to just let a little stream of air come out, okay? So that's how I do it. That's how I feel comfortable. Play around with what you like and what you are comfortable with. So get your stopwatch ready, and we will go ahead and start. So 3 breaths in. Big inhale. Start your timer and exhale. Whew. Okay, go ahead and write your time down. I got 50.26 seconds. So according to the chart, this chart will also be on your workbook page, and it's right down here on the bottom, so you can see exactly how you did. So for reference, I got 50 seconds, and so that is above average and represents good CO2 tolerance. So that's awesome. I'm totally happy with that. Now that's a little bit less. Last time I got 53 seconds, and so that's how it goes. It's amazing how much your breath can vary depending on what you have going on in your life, your stressors, all of this stuff. So it is a very fluid and fluctuating thing. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you got an insight to your breath, CO2 tolerance, and how it can affect your physical activity, your workouts, all of that stuff, your heart health, your overall health, your mental health. I just love it. So I have more videos coming about breath work. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.